I'd now like to call on journalist, filmmaker and author, and a familiar face amongst us all, Dr. Jeff McMullen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the welcome to country. It is Aboriginal land that we're on, but it is also that part of the Eora Nation where the obliteration of Aboriginal culture began. If you can imagine the mixed feelings that people who lived around these foreshores had when those sails, the gubba appearance happened here, then you might jump forward over 2 centuries to how Aboriginal people feel now watching the erasure that continues. Because around Sydney, the art that is in the rocks, the stories that is in the ground, in the harbour, in the sea, is being very rapidly destroyed. It is a story repeated across the country. You can read about it in this weekend's newspapers, from the Kimberley, from that coast across the top end to Queensland, down through the centre, and here around the foreshores of Sydney Harbour. The obliteration continues. It's vandalism. It's 21st century vandalism. And unless we make a personal stand, unless we value this individually, we will not stop this destruction. You can resign yourself to a global story and say, well, dispossession of Indigenous people has happened everywhere, and sadly this is the price of modernisation. It sickens me that now we are giving book prizes to anthropologists and historians and very celebrated writers that are prepared to watch the 21st century vandalism. But this is on our watch. We're not passing judgment about what happened here 200 years ago. Now, we're actually saying, are we listening to the voices? Are we respecting that effort that is being made to truthfully bring our nation to an awakening? Because if we persist with the lie, it's our delusion. If we go on feeling guilty about the past because we can't be honest, we can't find the words to recognise what has happened, then as this painting challenges us to see, we will be the ones living in delusion. It is our guilt, Australia, that holds us back from a clear-headed sanity of embracing all of this beauty and strength that is here in Aboriginal culture. In the thousands of talented painters now, and all of those others that want to sing their songs and write their plays and write their books and celebrate their dance. Until we see this is happening now, we are still, to a large extent, living with that delusion. It is very important, and I thank Parks and the Council, to see the opportunity to ground this Aboriginal storytelling, the power of this painting, in country. Because in fact there is an unbroken line. It is the world's oldest continuous intellectual system, expressed through art and storytelling, and handed down through rock engraving art that is right around here on these headlands, on these foreshores of the harbour. We can either continue as vandals and trample it, erase it and bulldoze it. There's a case going on in the Northern Territory where miners deliberately went on with the vandalism of what was a sacred site. So are we going to value our cathedral? Are we going to truly acknowledge the masterful art that has been here longer than anywhere else on earth? And then are we going to connect that to the yearning for the balance, the return of sanity, of truthfulness? That is what these paintings ask us to feel. So to put a collection like this on one of the islands in the harbour, to have a magnificent building, whether it's old or new, is not the point. It's to connect that story back to what happened in this country and what is still happening now. That is the power of these collections that have come into this little building. I hope we carry forward what the parks have begun with this opportunity. It could be down on the foreshores of the harbour in the city itself. There may be a series of places around the shores of this harbour. It may be the way that we encourage people to walk and feel all of those ancestral stories that still are here, that still sing. Because if you just go for a wander today before you get back in your car, you will hear the earth here singing. Look out to the heads and you will hear this country. It is very strong country. That has not been obliterated. The artists are asking us to feel that, to make it our responsibility, and to see that there is a keeping place in our soul. That's the real keeping place. It's not a building. It's that we value what these artists have given us in the beauty and strength, and that's eternal. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jeff.